Chucky finally explains Charles Lee Ray's backstory. Today we are going to take a look at Charles Lee Ray's backstory from the acclaimed TV series and movie franchise, Chucky. The scary doll first featured in the movie Child's played back in 1988 and has given a fair share of children and adults horrific nightmares. Child's Play is a horror flick with gruesome scenes involving the doll. Chucky is a serial killer in the film made by Don Mancini. The doll performs black magic to escape death on frequent occasions and transfers its soul into other dolls. The first film was a great hit and was followed by 3 others in the same franchise, released in a span of 10 years. After the initial 4 installments, quite a few spin-offs also made it to the theaters. These include Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, but none of them could quite make a mark on the audience. Don Mancini started working on another project for the fan-favorite doll that had lost its relevance in recent years. After brewing the perfect blend of gruesome, bloody, and scary, the Chucky TV show is now out. Released last week in October, Chucky will make a sensational return to the screen, and this time it will explain Charles Lee Ray's backstory. This backstory had been a long-awaited and almost forgotten whim of fans all around the globe. Charles Lee Ray had murdered 22 people before dying himself and putting his soul into the Chucky doll in the very first Chucky movie itself. The audience has always wondered what the actual villain origin story is. Finally, after 33 long years of waiting, these people are in for a treat. Why the 3 decades of waiting for this reveal? Don Mancini was recently questioned ahead of the release of this TV show, and a hot topic was the reveal of Charles Lee Ray's backstory at last. When asked why there was a 3-decade-long wait for him to finally choose to reveal it, Mancini firstly accepted that he knew about the longing for more of Charles Lee Ray's older days. He said that he deliberately did not include the backstory because he wanted the feature films to be not too long. He said it was tough to include the backstory in the 1.5 hour of screen time, and he wanted to delve into it properly. The 8-episode television series is the perfect opportunity for him to include it now. The show will provide ample screen time for the creators to travel back to the origin of this franchise and show the human version of this gruesome doll. Mancini also refreshed our memories about the origin of the grand name of Charles Lee Ray. It was derived from the names of 3 infamous serial killers, namely Charles Manson, Lee Harvey Oswald, and James Earl Ray. The earlier movies have touched upon Ray's early life, but never enough to satiate the audience. The first scene of the whole franchise just reveals the death of Charles Lee Ray as he is being chased by the police. He ends up in a toy store where he performs voodoo magic to transfer his soul into a doll and then dies at the hands of the police. The recent trailer for Chucky revealed a young Charles Lee Ray cutting into his birthday cake with a huge knife quite assertively. Then he goes on to beat the birthday pinata violently. This is the only reveal in the trailers about the backstory, and we haven't seen Charles in the form of an adult yet. But the first season has 8 episodes, and with the possibility of another season, the show could easily have some juicy flashbacks in store for us. Another reason for the long wait is the target audience of Chucky. While die-hard fans would not mind a spin-off on the human version alone, it might put other fans off. At the end of the day, the mass following behind Chucky is because of a serial killer doll, and not the origin of it. Chucky the doll has made its character an icon in the horror genre, and is the poster face, literally, behind the franchise. The backstory is an aspect of the doll, and not the other way around. But suffice to say, it will be exciting to watch Charles Lee Ray's young life. Should we be worried about characters losing their original charm and roots? Whenever there is a shift from books to movies or movies to TV shows, there is a certain apprehension about the original charm being dusted off. Die-hard fans of the Archie comics know the pain from when Riverdale was released. Although a decent show for its own target audience, it completely ripped off the roots from the original comics and had fans recoiling in horror as the characters lost all innocence. So there always is a fear of losing touch with the older characters and plots, but Don Mancini has reassured us that Chucky has been careful with this aspect. Mancini stated with pride that it is completely based on the old Chucky style and will have the same essence as that of the original franchise. He said that even the characters have been looked at separately to make sure there are no discrepancies, as he's aware of the fear when a new reboot is released. One of the things that were important to me, that we be able to retain all of the aspects of the franchise that the fans love, one of which is the gore, the other of which, of course, is Chucky's propensity for dropping F-bombs, Mancini said. We also have a habit of bringing actors back in different roles from movie to movie. We were doing that before Ryan Murphy started doing that with the repertoire company he put together on American Horror Story. So even if someone dies, they can come back in another role. I started doing that with Jennifer back in the 90s. This comes as a relief for Chucky fans, and is sure to boost the viewers to watch this TV reboot. Charles Lee Ray backstory finally revealed. After 6 sequels, a remake, and now a whole television show, Chucky will finally reveal the origin story of its human form of the serial killer. The show will bring the doll a full circle with many characters it has previously encountered through the movies, including its antagonist Andy Barclay, Nika Pierce, and Andy's foster sister called Kyle. Alex Vincent, who portrayed Barclay in Child's Play 1 and Child's Play 2, as well as Curse of Chucky and Call to Chucky, will retake the role in the TV show. Murderous and horrific dolls have been on our screens in different movies and shows. Annabelle made quite an impact with the successful franchise of The Conjuring and has its own fan following. Billy from the Saw franchise is also a cult classic, but no other doll than Chucky could quite form the horrific image that it has as a sadist and gruesome serial killer doll. The amount of blood we have seen over the years from the franchise is enough to take Chucky on another level of gruesomeness. But the fact that Chucky wasn't always a doll, but an actual human who himself was a serial killer makes it all the more horrific and fearsome. The Lakeshore Strangler was the name given to the serial killer who killed 22 people before becoming Chucky. Charles Lee Ray roamed the dingy streets of Chicago and killed 22 people with the police hot on his tail. Detective Mike Norris was the one entrusted with the job to bring the serial killer down. After finally tracking him down, the police chased Charles Lee Ray down and Detective Mike Norris shot him dead. But prior to dying, Charles made his way into a toy store and performed some voodoo spells to transfer his soul into one of the good guys' dolls in the store. The human form then died, and the murderous Charles Lee Ray was finally off the streets. Or was he? What do we know about Charles Lee Ray before the TV show? The human version of Chucky has had very limited screen time across the franchise until now. The most revealing scene was in Curse of Chucky that was released in 2013. The movie ventures into the past life of the doll and shows snippets of Charles Lee Ray in his prime serial killer days and reveals a gruesome subplot. Apart from Charles Lee Ray's life as a serial killer, he had also grown extremely obsessed with a mutual acquaintance called Sarah Pierce. In order to be with her, Charles murdered her husband and kidnapped her. He didn't know that Sarah had revealed his gruesome nature to the police earlier, and in his anger after finding this out, he stabs her with a knife, causing her unborn child Nika to be born paraplegic. He then ran away, only to be pursued by the police, and ended up inside a doll. If anything, Charles Lee Ray was even more horrific than Chucky. The show was released on the 12th of October, so you can watch it now and learn more about the gruesome backstory of Charles Lee Ray. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.